Hey, this is Mike, and today I want to show you how you can create a timeline effect using Microsoft Sway. So today you'll see I'm in Sway, sway.office.com, and I can create a new Sway right here at the top. And I'll click on Create New. And I see here the storyline area. Now, there are a few things that I want to do before I even get to the storyline in my design area to make it appropriate for a timeline. So I'll click on Design over here at the top left. And now if you'll notice I have this Styles button here at the top right. I'll click on that. Now I've got vertical, horizontal, and slides as my styles. Horizontal tends to work better for a timeline, so I'm going to choose horizontal. And now that's going to be the default for everything that I'm going to do later on. So that's the first thing that I like to do. And I'll just close this window, and now I'll jump back to the storyline, and storyline right here on the top left. So what you can do is you can title your Sway, and I'm going to call this History of the New York Mets. And I can give this a background image if I like. I don't have to. And I'll go ahead and click on the plus here to start building my timeline. And if I hit the plus, you'll notice I've got some suggested things, and then I've got all of my things up at the top. So heading 1 is what I really want to do for my basic times. So I'll go to heading 1, I'll create a heading. And my first timeline stop is going to be 1962, when the Mets were created. Okay, and now what I can do is I can add some content here. So under 1962, I can do things like add an image. And I'm going to go ahead and put an image from my device, and I'll click on my content, my device. And I'm going to go ahead and find a folder that I created with Mets stuff to begin with. And here's 1962, that first season, and I'll hit open. And then there's that image, and I can give it a caption, first Mets scorecard. Right? I can also put in a video if I like, so I'll go ahead and hit the plus here, insert content. And under media, I can click and I can say, okay, I'm going to embed some media there, and I'll click on embed. And I've got a video from YouTube here that I can click on, and I can just grab that URL. I'll copy that, go back to my Sway, and I can paste my embed code there. Oh, it only does iframe embeds. So after you get that error message, you can hit delete. And let's try that again. So I'm going to find the iframe to that, and I'll say share under this YouTube. And I'm going to copy the embed code here. And there's that iframe. And now I can just copy that. And I can go back to my Sway, and I can paste that embed there. And it likes that a lot better. So now that's embedded. I can also add some text if I like. So let's put some text in. So I'll go plus, and I can add text. And here's where I can add some text. So I've got some text, some pre-created text, and I'm just going to go ahead and paste it right in here. And that's it. I've got an image, I've got some video, and I've got some text. And now I can go ahead and I can add my next area of the timeline. So I'll do that right now. So I'll go to plus, and I'll go to heading 1 again, and I'll click on that. And now you'll notice it creates a new section. So you'll see this first section is in gray, and my new section is going to be also in gray. And I'll go ahead and say 1964. Shea Stadium. And now I can decide 1962 up here, I want it to say first year. And then I've got 1964 Shea Stadium. I can now add an image to that if I like. So I'll go to plus, and I'll go to image, and now I'll go to my device, and I'll find an image for Shea Stadium that I like, and I'll hit open. And I can do the same thing. I can find a video, I can find all that kind of stuff. But I'm going to go ahead and just set up my standard frames for my timeline. And I'll go to Insert Content again, and I'll create heading 3, right? And so now I'm going to go in and I will say 1969 World Series, right? And I'll go ahead and add an image to that as well. And I can fill in the rest of this stuff later on. So I'm going to go ahead and go from my device and find the 1969 World Series image, and I'll hit open. I can also drag images right onto the timeline here, and we'll see what that looks like in the next one. And I'll go to the next one, and I'll say heading, and now I'll say 1973 World Series. And if I were going to not add an image as a card, if I were going to drag an image, it would look different. So I can click on drag an image. And I can go to my device. I'll just open up my device here. And I'll go back to my desktop. And now here's that 1973 image, and I can drag that right there. And you can play around. It might look different. You might decide that you don't want that there. You might want it as an image below. And now I'll go to 1986 for the last one, and I'll say 1986 World Series. And now I can go ahead and add another image. And I'll go to my device, 1986, and I'll say open. So now this is just the bare bones, and you can go ahead and fill all this in later. And now that's all that I need. And if I hit play, you'll notice I have this history of the New York Mets, 1962 first year, and I can actually scroll and see a timeline of everything. And now you'll notice that 1973, that's the one that I put inside the frame, so it's going to look a little bit different, and then you can play with some other things. Now the great thing about the timeline is if I hit this button here while I'm viewing the timeline, I can navigate to different sections in this way. And here's where it starts to look like a timeline. So now you can see 1962, 1964, and I can jump back and forth from one to the next, and that's where it can actually look more like a timeline. And that's it. Play around with it, add images, add text, add videos, and now you've got your timeline.